general history on the building. Opened up in 1896 as a reformatory. A reformatory is a little bit different than a prison. A prison to this day is like a human warehouse. But this place was designed for first-time non-violent youth. Well, not even non-violent. It had to be your first felony. You had to be between the ages of 16 and 30. Yeah, that was pretty much it that could be said here. This essentially was a place, if you were sentenced in the state of Ohio, you were too bad for the boys' home in Lancaster, but too good for the state pen, you would come here. About the only crime you did not get sent here for was murder. Different degrees of manslaughter, you know what, that's fine. Petty theft, that's fine. But murder, oh no. There was a huge influx of hardcore inmates in here back in 1930. The reason for that was there was a big fire at the Ohio Penitentiary in Columbus. They lost 2 of their cell blocks, and 322 inmates burned to death in their cells. Because they lost those 2 blocks, they had to put the inmates that were slated for those blocks somewhere. This building was only designed for 1,100 inmates, but very shortly after the fire at the pen, our population was well over 3,700. These would have been the old original offices. Right through this door here would have been the warden's office. The actual warden's office until about 1960. Did have one warden pass away in his office. Once in a while you'll find him, or he'll find you, one of the two. This is where they would come to service. They would fit about 1,800 inmates in this room. This would have been the dining hall. In Air Force One, there was a scene where there was a general signing his way out of a Russian prison. That was filmed in here. Wayne used this area in the Go DJ video. All right, so now we're in West Cell Block. This is the original cell block. It's 5 tiers high, approximately 320 cells. If you guys do go down there, which I suggest sometime throughout the night, it is not the tall people who will bang their heads, because you guys are used to it. It is the people who are normal height. Hell yeah, I don't know how many gashes I have on this dome from hitting stuff.
Did you hear that?
For 94 years, the Ohio State Reformatory was a working prison. In that time, 154,000 inmates have served their time behind bars within the walls of the prison. Alongside the prisoners were their keepers, wardens, their guards, grave diggers, and other employees. Some of the people within the walls have never left. The unclaimed are found buried just outside the fence in a graveyard with 215 numbered markers. Behind the walls of the beautifully designed complex holds unspeakable horrors throughout the building, and even deep beneath the ground in an isolated location, solitary. One man has set himself on fire. At least one was able to hang himself. The cells that held 2, sometimes only one would walk out, leaving his cellmate's body stuffed under the bunk. the list goes on. After the tour concluded around 9 o'clock, the lights were cut and we were left in darkness through the night. With no guide, Aubrey, my mom Amy, and I set off to explore the old Mansfield Reformatory in hopes to be visited by the past inhabitants of who still use the prison as their home. Early on in the night, before the lights were even shut off, spiritual activity was present. During the tour, I would break off on my own to get shots I found visually interesting. It was during these moments that something was trying to get my attention. At one point, I fell back from the group to get a shot of Aubrey and Mom walking in the large cell block. The longer I sat on the floor alone, I began to feel something approaching me. When I got up and turned the camera behind me, there's what sounds like to be a large growl. Then finished up in the cell block and made our way into solitary. When I separated myself from the group once again, a voice can be heard telling me what sounds like, "Don't go." As I turn back to the group, it appears it is still trying to get my attention because the voice shows up once again. Was this the spirit trying to get my attention, or was it nothing at all? Where I begin to assume it is someone trying to make contact with me is when I am filming some of the solitary cells. A clear voice comes through telling me, "Don't run."
You have paperwork on guys being down here for well over 700 days straight. Now, it's likely they're being 100 days straight. 100 days straight. 100 days straight.
After solitary, the tour continued on. When we came across the area where the inmates showered, there's a moment where I enter the shower doorway and you can begin to hear someone singing. With this being where the inmates showered, it was no surprise to capture someone singing. Soon after, the tour concluded, and we were left alone to explore the building. The moment you're first left alone during the night, you immediately feel lost. The reformatory has so much ground to cover where it's impossible to begin. Amy, Aubrey, and I wandered around until we came across the chapel. When we first entered, my mom said that she heard footsteps behind her. Her and Aubrey continued to the front of the chapel as I watched the stairs. I can't really explain the sound I heard, so I'm just going to put it out there for you to decide. I can't explain the sound, but I did feel a presence of someone in the entrance to the chapel. So I decided to leave the camera behind and join back up with Amy and Aubrey. While we sat in the chapel, we began to hear someone banging on the cells in the empty cell block. Soon after, the camera I left behind began to pick up a sound of someone breathing into the mic. While in the chapel, Aubrey mentioned that she felt at peace within the area. I decided to sit where the inmates sat to try and invite someone to sit next to me. After I ask, the camera watching the doorway picks up a footstep coming up the stairs into the chapel. The mic on my camera is incredibly powerful, so we thought maybe it was me kicking something. But even when you check the sound on the camera that was in my hands at the moment, you can tell the sound didn't come from me. Would you like to come join me? Someone may have been trying to join us. Soon after that footstep, the camera picked up more breathing in the mic, followed by more footsteps. Keep in mind, all three of us were far away from the camera and sitting in the front of the chapel, so there's no way the camera was picking us up. It seems like whoever was trying to join us didn't make it past the entrance. The chapel was the location in the prison that felt different than every other area. It was the only room where you actually felt in peace. We wrapped it up in the chapel and headed back out into the cell block. The strangest part about the cell block was that you felt as if the eyes of each inmate were still gazing at you from their cells as you walked by. After we made it back down to ground level, solitary was our next stop. In this area, the feeling you were given was one that no one would ever like. You feel uneasy and have the desire to leave the area as soon as possible. The spirits that still occupy solitary have the same frame of mind they did when they were first locked up in the isolated location. The activity caught right off the bat in this area was the voice of a spirit mocking the words that left my mouth. As I was in the middle, telling my mom to put Aubrey in the middle, a few seconds go by and someone mocks me. Put Aubrey in the middle. Put Aubrey in the middle. Put Aubrey in the middle. The deeper we got into solitary, the more we began to feel like we weren't alone, and that whoever was with us didn't want us being there. We even tried communicating by asking for a sound. We even tried an EVP recording session. Still, no luck. We then turned to using our spirit box to communicate. The spirit box allows spirits to communicate using the frequencies of AM and FM radio channels. After we turned on the device, it began instantly picking up words coming from someone who is down in solitary with us. There.
Is that hello?
It started with a simple hello, but didn't stop there. The next response was one we didn't realize until we got home, and I think that was a good thing it played out that way. Clear as day, get out of here. The next one that came through my device is challenging to make out. You decide. He's coming, just kill me. I've got no idea. The final spirit box activity happened after I began asking where I could find the person who was joining us on our solitary exploration. The response is another one that is challenging to make out. Where are you? There are two things we hear. One being, on this bench behind you, or by the bitch behind you. Unfortunately, we didn't hear this response until we reviewed the footage. We packed up and headed down into the treacherous basement. No matter what words I put together, nothing can compare to the feeling one has when in the basement of the reformatory. My personal opinion, it's one of the darkest areas of the buildings. And I'm not talking about light values. Scott Sukel, Ghost Hunt Manager, spoke to us about many incidents of guests being scratched and shoved in this area. The occupants of the basement are the least friendly of the building. The footage we have of the basement doesn't do justice to what it's actually like to be present. While using the spirit box again, I go to pick up the device, and a voice comes through saying, "Don't move." I then asked if whoever's there doesn't want me to move. and they respond with, "Stay here."
Recorded on your voice recorder. I think it said don't move. I'm not kidding.
Do you not want me to move?
Stay here.
We were told to stay, but we didn't listen. We left the basement and headed back to the lobby. In the lobby, we ran into our tour guide, Scott. After relaxing for a moment, Scott agreed to accompany us on a true exploration of the prison. We were taken to some of the hidden areas where most guests don't even know exist, and revisited areas from earlier, but this time, no flashlights. Our time with Scott featured some of the most memorable events from the night. One event is one like no other. I'm saving this event for the last segment of the video you are currently watching. Before I get to it, when we walked around the prison at 3 a.m. to lock up with Scott, we returned to the chapel, and while Aubrey and I stared at a pigeon hanging out in the chapel, the camera picks up a large growl. We finished locking up with Scott, and it was time to depart. We survived the night and made it out to live another day. But I tell you what, the days after our adventure at the Ohio State Reformatory were ones we never expected. It's definitely a story for another time, but a story that will live with us as time goes on. We're going to flash back for a moment now. Back to the event I said I would save for last. While walking around the reformatory with Aubrey, my mom Amy, Scott and I, Scott took us to an area that was blocked off from visitors. This area was blocked off from the public because it is a location in the reformatory where a lot of activity occurs. Plus, the floors are pretty shady and not safe. Scott took us up into the area and introduced us to a spirit he has had many conversations with. To communicate with the spirit, we use Scott's dowsing rods. For those of you that don't know what dowsing rods are, they're two L-shaped metal wire rods used for many different reasons, including searching for underground water, determining the sex of unborn children, and even locating and communicating with spirits. The rods will cross for yes and pull apart for no. They will also point in the direction of the spirit. The spirit we were communicating with took a liking to Aubrey. The experience was emotional and one that we'll never forget. That's all I'll say. Please enjoy.
Basically, they'll cross for yes, swing out for no. And you could also find stuff. He seems to be a guy that likes to hide up here. This guy has been hiding up here, and he has a bad tendency to lash out. Yeah, this is, if I remember correctly, about a 19-year-old kid. Wow. Just hanging out. Hiding from everything else that's in here. Yeah. Well, that's another reason we have this area tied off, is because I got tired of people coming up here and messing with them.
Some people do that.
Yeah.
Some people want to aggravate.
How you doing, fella? Alright. You're reviewing that.
Mm-hmm.
This is for someone to say angry.
Okay.
I understand why you're angry. I get it. Got this area blocked off so people don't come mess with you. Also understand why you lash out a lot. It's completely understandable. These folks seem to be okay. So... crossing is yes.
Crossing is yes. You were touching my ankle. Yes. I felt that. He keeps touching my ankle.
Do you like Aubrey?
But nicely. Yes. Aww.
Oh. Do you think she's pretty?
Aww. Are you sick of people messing with you?
Yeah. He's moving. Well, that's a real sketchy spot.
Jeez.
Are you tired of people coming up here to talk to you?
No?
You like when people come talk to you?
He's standing right next to you.
To me or her?
Right by both of you guys.
I can feel it.
Oh, I went back.
Do you like us?
I can't see. Oh my god, is he right by me? Whoa.
Did he say no? When I asked that?
Yeah.
Do you not like me?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it because I'm a boy? No. Is it because I have feelings for Aubrey? Yes.
That's a sort of yes.
I figured it was part of that.
Nobody else is here.
My heart is beating so fast.
Yeah, so is mine. You said someone else is up here?
Yeah. Okay, now, next question is he from the same time period that you are? No. Alright.
Is he the same age as you?
No.
Are one of you touching my hand?
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah. You said the boy was 19?
Yeah, over there in that corner.
He's over there still. So,
Yeah.
it's...
Is he a new guy up here? Yeah.
It's the new guy touching me.
Yeah. Yep.
In the hand? Alright.
You may not want to know what he's touching you with.
What? Yeah. Do you want to come in here?
I'm in here.
I know.
So up here, he's the strongest. He's the weaker.
Oh, the boy's the strongest? Or
Yeah.
the 19-year-old?
Yeah.
My legs are weak.
Me too, I just feel so much.
Like my knees are shaking.
So am I.
I can almost I can barely hold up my right knee right now.
Alright. So the 19-year-old doesn't like this one over here because he's white. He's not.
How do you know?
Did you ask?
Yeah.
Like I...
Let me think.
My knees are shaking.
My...
Like, I feel calm, but I'm
Yeah.
like shaking.
That's from different parts of the state. He's from up near Cleveland. He's from Hamilton County, Cincy area.
Why are my knees shaking?
They're both hiding up here because this area's blocked off. It's a nice quiet area.
It's a good spot. If they, like, made noise earlier to scare the people that were
Yeah.
over here.
They just said
They
yeah.
said yeah.
Yep.
Were they disturbing you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Were they being loud?
Yeah, kind of. No? Okay.
Just annoying.
Just in their
Just,
in their area.
yeah.
But they don't mind us in their area?
They do,
Do-
but not that much.
Okay.
Sandy already has them.
What'd you just ask?
They're hiding up here because of the guy who normally hangs out there. They originally came up here to get away from a guy that was named Salts.
Okay.
And it's just nice because people don't have access up here, so Salts doesn't come back here. He'll stay in the front part. Salts, he's in the records. He's got paperwork on Salts.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
That was just his fake name. I don't really know his real name. Alright, let's get out of this area.
Thank you for letting us be up here.
The videos of this do no justice to what it was actually like to be in this room at that very moment. I can't even describe the feelings we had in that room. But I leave you with this. There is no welcome mat outside the doors of the reformatory, because it is a house that you are not welcome in. And the presences that occupy the area, make sure you don't get.
Oh, look at this one. Hello. That one's mean. Or like it's old. Ugh. Told you it's mean.
Dang.